Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour. Judge dismisses dozens of potential jurors as Donald Trump's historic criminal hush money trial kicks off in New York City. Israel's military renews vow to respond to Iran's attack amid calls for restraint. US President reiterates his commitment to Israel's defense. Australia's police says that Sydney church attack was a religiously motivated terrorist act. And in India, campaigning intensifies for phase 1 of polling on 19th April. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address public rallies in eastern India, while the opposition Congress party to hold a roadshow in the northeast. First up, Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial is now underway in New York City. He's accused of paying hush money to an adult actor before the 2016 presidential election. Trump is now the first former president to face a criminal trial. William Denslow reports.
Day one of Donald Trump's criminal hush money case is in the books. Donald Trump faces 34 counts of falsifying business records. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty. Entering the courthouse, he once again railed against the justice system, saying it has been weaponized against him. He says that this case is unconstitutional, all in a bid to hurt his chances of winning re-election come November.
It's a scam trial. If you read all of the legal pundits, all of the legal scholars today, there's not one that I see that said this is a case that should be brought or tried. It's a scam. It's a political witch hunt. It continues, and it continues forever.
There were some wins and some losses for Donald Trump and his legal team at the start of proceedings. When it comes to Donald Trump's losses, well, he was seeking for Judge Juan Merchan to recuse himself from this case. Donald Trump is furious with the gag order that the judge has slapped on him. Judge Merchan, though, ruling that he will not be stepping aside during this case. Another big win for prosecutors is that Karen McDougal, who claims to have had an affair with Donald Trump, will be allowed to testify. A win for Donald Trump's team, though, is that the Access Hollywood tape in which Donald Trump is heard saying that he can grab women by the genitals will not be allowed to be played, but prosecutors will be allowed to at least reference it during this trial. Jury selection is underway, and it's expected to be a long and laborious process to try and find 12 people deemed to not have a strong and biased opinion of the former president, either in favour or against him. Just to give you a sense of how hard it'll be to whittle down a jury pool to 12 members, well, of the initial pool of 96 people, when asked if they had strong opinions of Donald Trump, more than half of them put their hands up and were dismissed from selection immediately. Jury selection is a process that's expected to last up to 2 weeks, and this trial as a whole could last up to 2 months. William Denslow in New York reporting for DD India.
And joining me is Dr. Rajan Kumar from the School of International Studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi. Dr. Kumar, welcome to DD India News Up. Now, before I come to you, I want to inform our viewers that there is a legal angle to it all, and then there is a political angle to it. Let's, for the moment, focus on the political aspects and implications of this case on US politics in general and Trump in particular. Dr. Kumar, coming to you, as we saw in the report filed by my colleague in New York City, Trump is calling it political witch hunt and a scam trial. Do you agree?
I think that's the opinion of Trump, and many of the people in US and worldwide, they do not necessarily agree to that kind of opinion. At the macro level, what I see, two, three things happening in the United States today. The first is the kind of decay of democracy. The Constitution framers and even the 14th Amendment of 1868, they never visualize that a convicted person, a person who is likely to be convicted, indicted person, can rise to the level of a popular presidency when he'll be validated for the post of president. So they could not imagine this kind of situation, that a felony, a person who is being convicted in criminal case, that person would be fighting for the president. The 14th Amendment of 1868, it bars, it has certain criteria. One is that you have to have 35 years of age. You should be a natural citizen, and you should be a residency of 14 years. And the 14th Amendment, the addition was that you should not be participating in, you should not have participated in any insurrection. So beyond that, politically or legally at least, Trump can fight as president even when he's convicted. Which means that even if he is in jail, he can be the candidate from the Republican side. So what it says, Rameshji, in my view, is a clear decay of the institution and the norms which we were expecting from a country which claims to be the model of democracy in the world. But unfortunately, it has come to the pass where a person who is likely to be convicted in one of the cases, he can also become a president.
Dr. Kumar, building on the argument you make, Trump has become the first former US president to stand trial in a criminal case. Now, his supporters call it vendetta. His opponents say no one is above the law. But this case might not land Trump in jail, but the other cases filed against him could certainly complicate his bid to win back the White House, is it not?
In terms of consequences, this criminal case related to hush money, this is least criminal in comparison to other cases. There are four criminal cases, as you know. One is the case of he keeping the classified documents in Florida. The second case is related to Washington, D.C., where his role in the Capitol riot which took place, and interference in Georgia. So those three cases have larger consequences in terms of jail term, prison, etc. This is the least as far as the prison, etc. is concerned. But this again is a criminal case, and what is interesting about this particular case being discussed is that the judge is also saying, one merchant is the judge, also saying he's at least indicating, not saying, he's indicating that this might have influenced the electoral outcome. So it's not just about the hush money, but also its outcome on his winning in 2016. So the case is getting complicated. What happens up in the jury? America has a very different kind of system. As you know, that juries are appointed, jurors are appointed through a legal process, which we are not aware in India. India's case is very different, and 12 jury members would be elected. Not elected, rather appointed through a legal process. And finally, it will take 4 to 6 weeks to take the trial. But the interesting thing is that even if he is convicted, can he become a president or not? The legal answer is yes. Even if he is in prison, he can be the president. And Trump being Trump, he is not going to bow down. He is not going to surrender. And as he has said very clearly that this is a political witch hunt, he is saying it's a scam. And after every trial in the past few years, we have seen that his popularity has risen. And in many of the opinion surveys today, Trump is leading vis-a-vis Biden by a very small margin. But in many of the flux states, he is leading. So it's a very difficult situation in US. There is a huge polarization taking place. So the American democracy is under threat. Because the normative lead that used to take, the moral value that it used to command, and the kind of message that it used to send throughout the world, that is now under decay, that is questionable. And people think that what is happening in America will have implications not only in America, but also in other countries.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Dr. Rajan Kumar, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right, moving on, the UK will host its parliamentary election this year, though the date is still not public. all 650 seats are up for grabs, meaning that a new party could take power and a new Prime Minister take charge. Stuart Smith has more from London on how this takes place.
From northern Scotland to southern England, in cities and villages, the British people are preparing to vote. For 650 prospective lawmakers, there's one goal: to represent their part of the UK in the national parliament. It's here, in the House of Commons, where members of Parliament, or MPs, debate the issues of the day. But for any lawmaker to get here, they need to be voted in. Each adult UK citizen or Commonwealth citizen who has permission to live in the UK can choose to vote.
They give you a ballot paper which could be just 3 names on it: Tory, Conservative, Labour and Liberal Democrat, or it could have about 20 names on it with loads of independent candidates and so on. In the actual act of voting, all you've got to do is mark one candidate.
People choose who they would like to represent their local area or constituency. The UK is broken up into 650 of them, and one lawmaker represents each location.
In that constituency, you can have someone who only gets, say, 25% of the vote, but as long as they win more votes than the next person, then they will be declared duly elected.
Usually a candidate will run as part of a political party, but they don't have to. In power since 2010 is the more right-leaning Conservative Party, headed by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Their strongest rival is the more left-wing Labour Party, headed by Keir Starmer. Other parties exist, but they aren't likely to take power, with the UK traditionally a two-party system. When the election is over, party leaders see how many of their candidates have won, and if one party has more than half the lawmakers in Parliament, they can form a government. If not, they can agree to work with one of the smaller parties to form a coalition.
But right now, polls predict the opposition Labour Party is in for a strong chance of winning far more than half the seats in Parliament, meaning it's likely to be a Labour government, with Keir Starmer the favourite to be the next Prime Minister. Stuart Smith in London, reporting for DD India.
At least 13 people were killed and several others injured in a head-on collision between a bus and a pickup van on the Dhaka-Khulna highway in Bangladesh's Faridpur district on Tuesday. The accident took place at about 8 a.m. local time. All the deceased were travelling in the pickup. Superintendent of Police in Faridpur, Mohammad Murshid Alam, said 11 people died on the spot and 2 were declared dead after being taken to a nearby hospital. The identities of the deceased could not be known immediately. Fire service team rushed to the spot and concluded rescue operations. Now, Bangladesh's GDP growth in second quarter shrinks to 3.78%. A report by Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics on Monday revealed that Bangladesh's GDP growth nearly halved in the second quarter compared to the previous quarter of this fiscal. The country's latest available macroeconomic data showed that the substantial fall in industrial output to be 3.24% in the second quarter of this fiscal, which was 10% in the second quarter of FY 2022-23. However, the agriculture sector gave a better output to Bangladesh's economy in the period under review. The farm sector in the second quarter was 4.65% compared to 4.22% in the second quarter of financial year 2022 and 2023. The Chinese government has unveiled fiscal and monetary policy measures in a bid to achieve an ambitious 2024 GDP growth target of around 5%. A Chinese National Bureau of Statistics official said that last year's growth rate of 5.2% was likely flattened by a rebound from a COVID-hit 2022, though its economy grew faster than expected in the first quarter. However, the performance of the real estate sector remains pessimistic as it is still in the midst of adjustments. China's gross domestic product grew by 5.3% in January-March compared to the previous year. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Israel's war cabinet resumes meeting to discuss the country's response to attack by Iran. The International Atomic Energy Agency voices concern over Israel possibly targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. And Sydney church stabbing declared a terrorist attack.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Monday said that indiscriminate attacks, killing, injuring and terrorizing civilians in Sudan could amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity. Guterres said that weekend attacks by RSF-affiliated militias west of El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur, and the escalating hostilities on the outskirts of the city were a fresh cause of deep alarm.
Any attack on El Fasher would be devastating for civilians and could lead to a full-blown intercommunal conflict across Darfur. It would also upend aid operations in an area already on the brink of famine, since El Fasher has always been a critical UN humanitarian hub.
Guterres spelled out the point of contention, saying that there are two generals that have opted for a military solution, and they have, until now, obstructed all serious efforts at mediation. War erupted in Sudan 1 year ago between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary called Rapid Support Forces. Now, donors have pledged more than $2.13 billion for war-torn Sudan at a conference held in Paris on Monday. France's President Emmanuel Macron said that during the event, the amount gathered will help meet the population's most urgent needs. Millions face severe levels of hunger as a result of a power struggle that broke out in Sudan 1 year ago.
Our duty was to make it clear that we are not forgetting what is happening in Sudan, that we remain mobilized, that there are no double standards. This is why France, member of the Security Council and ally of Sudan with Germany and the European Union, took the initiative of this conference to show our will, our determination to put an end to this crisis from which people are suffering.
And my colleague Ross Cullen now joins me from Paris for more. Ross, what did the conference achieve?
Hi Ramesh. Well, they announced that some $2.1 billion are going to be provided to support Sudan's humanitarian assistance relief fund. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, saying that in his closing news conference. He also said that the 15th of April was a tragic date for Sudan. This conference was held 1 year exactly on from the start of the civil conflict in the African country. Emmanuel Macron went on to say that since then, nothing but grief and suffering has been forced upon the Sudanese people. Now, some of the numbers are quite staggering. If you look at the fact that 25 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance, 17 million people face severe food insecurity, and 4 million people are facing famine in Sudan as a result of the civil war in the country, which then has provoked this huge humanitarian crisis, not just internal displacement, but also refugees fleeing over the border to neighbouring countries like Ethiopia, South Sudan and Chad.
Ross, some are already calling it the forgotten war. Now, 1 year on, there's no end in sight for the conflict. Are more talks planned? And what do the European leaders have to say about a political solution to the conflict?
Well, the European Union's Humanitarian Disaster Commissioner, Janez Lenarčič, said during the conference, quote, "The first thing that we have to do is to make sure that Sudan is not forgotten. Today, the people caught in this emergency are almost completely invisible. Other devastating crises have overtaken the news from around the world. The Ukraine-Russia war, Israel's war on Hamas, the current Iran-Israel tensions in the Middle East, the fact that this crisis has been so devastating internally and also now externally. We are seeing the German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, she was here in Paris for the conference. She said that every life counts, especially whether it's in Ukraine, Gaza or Sudan. So this conference not only achieved that aim of raising billions of dollars to support Sudan's humanitarian needs, but also this conference wanted to raise awareness, increase that international awareness of the ongoing conflict in Sudan.
Ross, thank you. Ross Cullen reporting there from Paris. Moving on, Israel's war cabinet has met on Monday to discuss its response to Iran's attack. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu summoned his war cabinet for the second time in less than 24 hours over Iran's missile and drone attack. However, Israel did not make public whether a decision had been reached. While Iran has signaled that it considers the matter closed, the Israeli military's chief of staff said that the attack will not go unanswered.
I want to thank all our international partners who stood up to Iran's aggression. Iran's attack has created new opportunities for cooperation in the Middle East. We are closely assessing the situation. We remain at our highest level of readiness. Iran will face the consequences for its actions. We will choose our response accordingly.
For its part, Iran says that any action against its interest will be responded to. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi warned on Tuesday that the smallest action against its interest will be met with a severe, widespread and painful response against any perpetrator. According to an Iranian news agency, Raisi told this to Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Meanwhile, world leaders are urging for restraint after Iran's attack on Israel. European Union's Foreign Affairs Chief Josep Borrell noted that we are on the edge of the cliff and we have to move away from it, adding that we have to step on the brakes and reverse gear. UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said on Monday that he would soon speak with his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu on how to prevent escalation in the region after Iran's drone and missile attack.
I will also shortly be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu to express our solidarity with Israel in the face of this attack and to discuss how we can prevent further escalation. All sides must show restraint. Our aim is to support stability and security because it is right for the region.
Sunak further said that the Hamas wanted not just to kill and murder, but to destabilize the entire region.
The conflict in Gaza must end. Hamas, which is backed by Iran, started this war. They wanted not just to kill and murder, but to destabilize the whole region. This weekend, they rejected the latest hostage deal, which offered a road to a ceasefire. It is Israel's right, and indeed its duty, to defeat the threat from Hamas terrorists and defend its security.
Similar appeals have been made by France's President Emmanuel Macron, Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and British Foreign Secretary David Cameron. Meanwhile, EU foreign ministers are due to meet on Tuesday to discuss Iranian attacks on Israel. The agenda of the meeting is to contribute to de-escalation and security of the region. And joining me from Brussels is my colleague Ishan Garg. Ishan, how would you describe the mood or sentiment among European leaders in the wake of Iran's attack on Israel and Israel's plans to act against Iran?
Well, there is certainly a huge degree of discomfort. There's a massive level of anxiety because people here don't want any further escalation in the Middle East, and that's why this foreign ministers meeting has been called on an urgent level just a day before the 27 heads of states of the European Union are going to meet here in Brussels. Now, there is a possibility that the foreign ministers are going to discuss new sanctions on Iran, which gives you a sense of the mood because they clearly see that Iran is the one currently escalating tensions in the Middle East. Meanwhile, no such plans or actions have been planned against Israel so far as this particular episode between Israel and Iran is concerned. So there is a degree of uncertainty which is leading to some anxiety in Brussels because countries here want to show that they are in solidarity with Israel, but at the same time they've also in the past expressed concerns for Israel's own actions in Gaza.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Ishan Garg in Brussels, thank you for now, much appreciated. The International Atomic Energy Agency's chief has said that he is concerned about possible Israeli targeting of Iranian nuclear facilities. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi has said that Iran closed its nuclear facilities on Sunday over security considerations. The IAEA inspections of Iranian facilities will resume on Tuesday.
We always call for extreme restraint. Actually, what we were discussing here, which was not about Iran or the Middle East, is a tangible example of the need to avoid any physical attack against any nuclear facility. So, but we are there. We continue our work.
In other news, a knife attack during a service at an Assyrian church in Sydney, Australia, was a terrorist act motivated by suspected religious extremism. Australian police said that this as the incident triggered clashes outside the church between police and an angry crowd of the bishop's followers who demanded the attacker be handed over to them. At least 4 people were wounded in the attack, including the bishop on Monday. Police have urged people not to take the law into their hands. Meanwhile, the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, has assured all support with the investigation. Police arrested a male teenager at the scene on Monday and were forced to hold him at the church for his own safety as the crowd of worshippers gathered outside. Police said that there was a degree of premeditation as the male attacker travelled to the church far from his home with a knife. It was the second major stabbing attack in just 3 days in Australia's most populous city after 6 people were killed and 12 injured in a knife attack at a beachside mall in the Bondi area on 13th April. Global equities fell to their lowest levels in 2 months while the dollar reached its highest point in more than 5 months on Tuesday. Now, this followed stronger than anticipated U.S. retail sales data, bolstering the belief that the Federal Reserve might not rush to implement interest rate cuts this year. The MSCI All World Index touched its lowest level since February, with European shares declining and the stock 600 set for its largest single-day drop in 6 months. The U.S. stock futures were largely unchanged. Oil prices remained above $90 per barrel. The dollar's strength continued to keep the yen close to 34-year lows in currency markets. And now take a look at some more stories making news around the world. As residents gear up for the upcoming general election on the Solomon Islands, the streets bustled with people as political candidates tried to gain last-minute support for the election on Wednesday. This is the first election since Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare signed a security pact with China. The San Diego Zoo in the US welcomed its 250th California condor chick in what is being hailed as an important milestone for the critically endangered species. The world population of California condors was estimated at 561 at the end of 2022. Shoal Shoal was the first condor to arrive at the San Diego Zoo in the year 1982. A private aircraft fell on top of an empty car repair shop near UNAM University campus in Mexico City on Sunday, killing the pilot and 2 passengers, informed the local authorities. A video captured from the site of the accident showed a tall and dark plume of smoke filling the sky. And still to come on DD India News Hour. An India election special from the northeastern state of Meghalaya, which sees a multi-cornered fight for its 2 parliamentary seats. A ground report from Madhya Pradesh, also known as the heart of India, which has a large number of tribal groups. And the BJP announces the names of 7 candidates for the Lok Sabha election in its 12th list.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. Judge dismisses dozens of potential jurors as Donald Trump's historic criminal hush money trial kicks off in New York City. Israel's military renews vow to respond to Iran's attack amid calls for restraint. US reiterates its commitment to Israel's defense. And in India, campaigning intensifies for phase 1 of polling on 19th April. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address public rallies in eastern India, while the opposition Congress party to hold a roadshow in the northeast. Right, let's now get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Now, political parties are still finalizing their candidates for the upcoming election. The BJP has released a list of 7 Lok Sabha candidates for Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Maharashtra and West Bengal. In its latest list, Abhijit Das has been fielded in West Bengal's Diamond Harbour constituency against TMC's Abhishek Banerjee. Udayan Raje Bhosle in Maharashtra Satara, Anita Som Prakash from Hoshiarpur, Parampar Kaur Sidhu from Bhatinda, among others. From Uttar Pradesh, Shashank Mani Tripathi will take up fight in Deoria and Thakur Vishwadeep Singh will contest from Firozabad. The BJP has also announced candidates for the Odisha Assembly election and Telangana and Uttar Pradesh Assembly by-polls as well. Now, campaigning for the first phase of Lok Sabha election is in top gear as leaders of various political parties are campaigning across the states to woo voters. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed 2 public meetings in Bihar's Gaya and Purnia. The Prime Minister said that the Congress and its allies are trying to use Constitution as a weapon for their own political benefit. Addressing a public meeting in Gaya in Bihar this morning, PM Modi said, A false narrative is being created by opposition parties to mislead people that the BJP will change the constitution. Criticizing RJD's time in power, the leader said that the RJD is the face of jungle raj and corruption. The Prime Minister said that the people of the country have decided that the BJP will cross 400 seats because people want to see India developed by 2047.
ये चुनाव विकसित भारत, विकसित बिहार के उसी संकल्प का चुनाव है। गया की धरती पर उमड़ा ये जन सैलाब, ये अपार जन समर्थन, आपका ये उत्साह साफ बता रहा है कि फिर एक बार 4 जून
So leaders are leaving no stone unturned as the poll date for the first phase approaches. India's Home Minister Amit Shah held a public rally in Jammu. He will also visit Uttarakhand and Madhya Pradesh for public meetings. Another Indian minister, Anurag Singh Thakur, held a public rally in Kishtwar to seek votes for party's candidate, Dr. Jitendra Singh, who is contesting from the Udhampur-Kathua-Doda Lok Sabha seat. Meanwhile, the president of the Congress party, Mallikarjun Kharge, visited Nagaland to address an election rally at Dimapur on Tuesday. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra participated in a rally in Jorhat, Assam. The roadshow was organized in support of the Indie Alliance candidates of 2 Lok Sabha constituencies of Tripura West and Tripura East. Samajwadi Party candidate from Manpuri constituency Dimple Yadav filed her nomination on Tuesday. Congress General Secretary Randeep Surjewala, who was in Nagaland on Tuesday, slammed BJP and the NDPP for losing their roots in the state.
It's people's power of the Congress versus muscle power and money power of the BJP and NDPP. I assure you, every time the money power which is attacking India's constitution and our cultural ethos has stood against people's power have won in India as also internationally in every other country. I am 100% certain that now that new name has been given to him, Mr. Superman Jameer will keep the Congress flag flying with the blessings of people of Nagaland, and Congress will emerge victorious.
A part of the northeastern state of Assam is going to the polls in the first phase, and amidst the Bihu celebration in the state, political parties are canvassing to woo voters in their favour. DD India's Debyendu Mondal visited the Lakhimpur constituency in Upper Assam to get you a flavour of the elections there.
Amidst the hustle and bustle of the election campaigning, the state of Assam is celebrating its harvest festival. Bihu, a traditional festival, is celebrated across the state to commemorate the Hindu New Year and Thanksgiving for a good harvest season. The festival, which goes on for a week, is celebrated here with much fervour. From young to old, all gather and dance to commemorate this festival. Here at the Lakhimpur constituency in the Upper Assam region, the BJP's Pradhan Barua is fighting it out against the Congress's Uday Shankar Hazarika. Even though the campaign around this constituency has been mellowed down owing to the ongoing Bihu celebration in the state, the people here exudes confidence in the work being done by the BJP over the last few years. From roads to better infrastructure and the various schemes of the Modi government have touched the lives of many in the Lakhimpur constituency. The people are also happy with the completion of the long pending construction of the Bogibeel Bridge over the mighty Brahmaputra River. As earlier, it would take hours for people from Lakhimpur to reach the city of Dibrugarh on a boat. sometimes even risking their lives on the ferocious Brahmaputra during the monsoon season. Not just this, even the building of embankments along the river, which would otherwise flood farmlands and houses, brought much relief to the people here. The building of the Hydroelectric Power Corporation's dam over the Subarnasri River is also celebrated here as an achievement of the BJP government. Not just this, the third largest Indian agricultural research institute in the Lakhimpur constituency is also something that the people talk about highly. Lakhimpur constituency is part of the 5 constituencies in Assam that is going to polls in the first phase, which is on the 19th of April. Assam has 14 Lok Sabha seats and is going to polls in the first 3 phases of the general elections of 2024. Dibyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
Phase 1 of the polling to be held on 19th April, and the 5 seats, the constituencies will go to the polls on that day. And generally, how is the campaigning coming along? Dibyendu, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, Ramesh, now I can hear you. If you could...
right, I meant to ask you, Dibyendu, what more can you tell us about the phase 1 of polling to be held on 19th April and the 5 seats that will go to the polls in the state on that day? And generally, how is the campaigning coming along where you are?
Ramesh, I am in Assam currently, and the Upper Assam region, the 5 seats in the Upper Assam region is going to polls in the first phase. I am currently at the Dibrugarh constituency here in Assam, and behind me also you can see a tea garden, and in the Dibrugarh constituency, you know, the tea garden workers constitute about 30% of the voting of the voters here in this constituency. So of course, particularly in this constituency, all the political leaders are trying to woo the tea garden workers to get their vote, because they are an important deciding factor of the political leaders' fate in this particular constituency of Assam. But apart from this, the other constituencies, which includes the Lakhimpur constituency, the Sonitpur, Kaziranga, Jorhat, these are the other constituencies that are also going to polls. The key candidates that are testing their fate in the first phase of election in Assam includes Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, former Congress's Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi's son Gaurav Gogoi is also contesting from the Jorhat seat. So of course, these are the 2 important, in fact, is also being called as the VIP seat this election, where you know, 2 senior leaders of both one from the BJP and the other from the Congress is testing their fate. And is hoping to win the election and go to the Indian Parliament. So of course, just the last 1 or 2 days left before the silent period commences here, which will be on the 17th, 5 p.m. will be the last round of campaigning, which is allowed as per the Model Code of Conduct rules of the Election Commission of India. So you know, it's just less than 24 hours, in fact a little more than 24 hours left for all the candidates to you know, canvass around the 5 parliamentary seats which are going to polls. So campaigning here are in full swing, and it will continue till 5 p.m. tomorrow. So of course, on the 19th, the people of these 5 constituencies in the Upper Assam region will seal the fate of the several candidates of the different political parties contesting from this region. Back to you.
All right, Dibyendu, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And staying in the northeast, in Sikkim, election campaign for the simultaneous elections for the lone Lok Sabha seat and 32 seats of the Legislative Assembly are on in full swing. The ruling Sikkim Krantikari Morcha and opposition parties, the Sikkim Democratic Front, the BJP, Congress and newly floated Citizen Action Party are making all-out efforts to garner support of the electorates across the state, which will go to the polls on the 19th of this month. And joining me now from Gangtok in Sikkim is my colleague Gautam Roy. Gautam, give us a flavor of the campaigning where you are. You've been traveling in the region for some time now. What did you see, and what have the voters been telling you?
Well, good afternoon, Ramesh. What's been happening is that ever since we arrived here in Sikkim, it's been a bit of a drizzly weather, and that's the scene today as well. I just got here yesterday, and what we have seen is that there is intense campaigning going on. There's just one parliamentary seat here, and the key contest therefore becomes the one for the State Assembly. And we saw the last time round in 2019, the Sikkim Krantikari Morcha was victorious by a whisker. It got 17 seats. The main rival, the SDF, Democratic Front, Sikkim Democratic Front, got 15 seats, whereas its vote share was slightly larger than that of the SKM by 0.6%. So it's a very keen contest, very closely fought. Even the BJP is trying to make its presence felt here. It had some defections earlier, got to 12 MLAs, and then some of them left. But it is in the fight. It had an alliance with the ruling SKM, but that broke up just before the elections got called, or soon after that, in fact. So that is the situation here. Very intense fight going on. Even on a rainy day, we saw the Gangtok seat candidate for the assembly, that is Mr. Namgyal, sitting with party workers in the party office, having intense discussions as to how they should conduct themselves, the polling agents, they should conduct themselves on polling day to ensure that there's maximum turnout and everything goes smoothly, and the other parties do not take any advantage of any sort of a situation.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Gautam, thank you. Gautam Roy reporting there from Gangtok in Sikkim. Right, moving on with the Lok Sabha elections just round the corner, Uttarakhand is buzzing with political fervour and anticipation. The state, known for its stunning landscape and rich cultural heritage, is now at the forefront of democratic action. However, what sets this election apart is the palpable excitement among first-time voters. Now, youngsters eager to participate in the democratic process are taking centre stage, ensuring their voices are heard and their choices count.
It's Lok Sabha polls 2024 and largest festival of democracy here in the country. I'm here in the capital of Uttarakhand, which is Dehradun, where people will go to polls on April 19. Everyone is very excited to go to the polling booths. But guess what? Who's more excited than all? It's the youth.
With the Lok Sabha elections just around the corner, the state, known for its stunning landscapes and rich cultural heritage, is now at the forefront of democratic action. Every corner of Uttarakhand is witnessing the preparations for the upcoming elections. Political parties are actively campaigning, reaching out to voters with promises and agendas aimed at addressing the diverse needs of the state. However, what sets this election apart is the palpable excitement among first-time voters. Youngsters eager to participate in the democratic process are taking center stage, ensuring their voices are heard and their choices count.
I'm very excited because it's my first time, and I wish everyone should go and vote because it's our right to choose.
Very excited because it was my first voting time, so I'm very excited about it, and I want to tell the people to come and vote because it is our rights to vote.
This is my first time as a voter, and I am very excited and enthusiastic about these Lok Sabha 2024 elections, and I request and appeal everyone to go and vote for your respective candidate, as it will shape your future and your democracy.
The Election Commission of India is leaving no stone unturned to ensure a smooth and fair electoral process in Uttarakhand. Stringent measures are in place to maintain security, uphold transparency, and facilitate maximum voter turnout.
The first-time voters play a pivotal role in contributing to India's democracy. And as they cast their ballots for the first time, they carry the hopes and aspirations of millions with them. With camera person Manmohan, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting from Dehradun for DD India.
And Siddharth, who is covering the elections from the land of the gods, who was in Dehradun, is now in Mussoorie, and he joins us from there. Siddharth, fill us in on the election campaign in Uttarakhand. What are the major issues in this election insofar as Uttarakhand is concerned?
Well,
A very good afternoon to you, Ramesh, from the pictures hill of Mussoorie. The excitement is palpable here, and it's as exciting as the weather here in Mussoorie. In fact, yesterday itself, the BJP party president JP Nadda came here. He came here to support the BJP candidate who's contesting here, Mala Raj Lakshmi, and he also talked about various things, various initiatives that the government has taken to benefit people, including the PM Awas Yojana and also the Ujjwala Yojana. Also, he was saying that this time around, if the party comes to power once again, the political landscape will be changed here in the region. This is a very important region as far as the elections are concerned, and from the Congress side, there's this candidate who is Jyot Singh Gursnol, who's contesting from this region. So all in all, the excitement is really palpable, and like I had a word with local residents here, there are some concerns which they shared with me, and this includes the healthcare, road infrastructure, and also education. However, they said that they are happy about the way the current government is functioning, but they want more because if you see this region, Ramesh, there are no hospitals as such. There are no big hospitals. So if someone is ill, severely ill, someone is serious, he or she has to be taken to Dehradun, which is about 40 kilometers from here. And during the peak season, everyone wants to come to Mussoorie. So we've all seen through social media the amount of traffic which starts from the foothills to the Mussoorie. This is what the residents' concern is, that they need a respite from this particular scenario. They want an expressway also to be made so that traffic congestion is reduced here in the area. As far as the education is concerned, like I said, they're happy, but they want more of it. Also, they are happy about the very fact that tourism is getting increased in the region, courtesy the weather here and also the mountains. But the main concern here is the traffic and also healthcare. And they hope that this time around, when the new government will be formed, they think that they will get respite from all the concerns they have right now. Just have a word with them few hours back. So the residents here were telling me all these things. So these are the major concerns here in this region. As far as the elections in Uttarakhand is concerned, then if I talk about the Haridwar constituency, then also there are two parties that are having stronghold, which is the BJP and the Congress. And if I talk to you about the Haridwar constituency, then Trivendra Singh Rawat from BJP and Virendra Rawat from the Congress, they are contesting the election. The BJP has a strong hold as far as the locals are concerned. As far as the
Siddharth, apologies, I'll have to interrupt you there. We are running short of time. Thank you for now. And switching track, shifting focus from the northern India to the western part of the country now, as Gadchiroli district of Maharashtra is going to the polls in the first phase on the 19th of April. Multiple police forces have been deployed in the Naxal-hit area to conduct safe and peaceful elections. 130 drones and 6 Mi-17 helicopters will be deployed and 180 sorties will be carried out. Chances of major ambush can be reduced as the helicopters can transport the EVMs directly from the polling booth to the strong room. Preparations are underway for the past 3 months along with the search operations in the jungles. The C-60 Commander unit is also being deployed in the area. Right, my colleague Shishir Shela joins us from Mumbai for more. Shishir, how many seats are going to the polls in Maharashtra on the 19th of April, and any key seat or contest to watch out for?
Well, absolutely. It's interesting to watch out the contest, especially in eastern Vidarbha region, because in the first phase, we'll see that 5 seats will go for the poll here. And let me tell you that the eastern Vidarbha region earlier was known to be as a Congress bastion. We've seen the Congress leaders actually winning the seats here since continuously, almost 3 to 4 times a year consecutively. But in last 10 years, since 2014, the picture has changed in eastern Vidarbha. And that's the reason now we'll see that the stronghold of Congress has moved to the BJP's hand now. Well, I was talking about these 5 regions. These 5 regions have their own issues, and that's the reason if you look at Nagpur, where I'm standing right now, Nagpur is one of the metropolises, actually now become a metropolis, because earlier it was just a big city in Maharashtra, and probably we can say that Nagpur is the second capital of Maharashtra. Well, in spite of that, we haven't seen a major development in Nagpur region, although some of the projects have been announced. For example, the irrigation projects, which was inaugurated late in 80s, was not completed in Vidarbha region, and that was the main source of water to entire region here. That is almost completed. The second important thing, of course, the economic zone or the infrastructural project that we're talking about, which has developed since last 10 years, probably we can say, has helped the people of Nagpur and Vidarbha region. If we talk about the Gadchiroli district, because the Gadchiroli district is one of the Naxal affected region, but since last 10 years, the continuous efforts by the government have yielded results here, and that's the reason we have seen that most of the people either have surrendered or they have got a job at various locations in the Gadchiroli district itself. And that was the government policy, that how to settle these people, and they should not fall for pay for something doing wrong. And that's the reason these are the different initiatives taken by the government is now showing the results in this entire area. The third important region, of course, the Gadchiroli. We also know that Gadchiroli is also known as a mineral-rich region. And that's the reason now we've seen that mining activities started. Some of the big companies have started, investments started flowing in. As a result, the people have been benefiting, especially in the entire region. So now the equation has changed. Earlier, the region which we used to say that quite a backward region, but now has actually seen the light of the growth, and that's the reason I told you, it's quite interesting fight here, because not just investment, but what people also say that the social issues, the caste issues, and their arithmetic is also equally important. That is also will play important role here. But in spite of that, Nagpur, the key candidate is Nitin Gadkari. In Chandrapur, we have seen Sudhir Mungantiwar, the current state minister, also is the Environment Minister of Maharashtra. He is contesting from Gadchiroli district. We have seen Mr. Neti, Ashok Neti is also contesting from Gadchiroli from BJP. So these are the big names that probably is in the for the entire election process.
Or I will leave it at that. Shishir, thank you. Shishir Shila reporting there from Mumbai. Now to all the news in the world of sport with my colleague Mark Lynn. Mark, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Ramesh. And we've had an action-packed one news hour today, and spare a little thought now for the sports news. Let's start with football. Barcelona is ready for battle against Paris Saint-Germain in the return leg of their Champions League quarter-final today. Barca holds a slender 3-2 advantage after the first leg in Paris last week. They are bidding to reach the semi-finals for just the second time in 8 seasons since lifting the trophy in 2015. Meanwhile, Borussia Dortmund will host Atletico Madrid. This is in the second game on Tuesday. Dortmund lost the tie 2-1 after the first leg in Madrid saw Diego Simeone's side take a 2-0 lead. Sunrisers Hyderabad on Monday scored the highest ever total in IPL history, beating Royal Challengers Bengaluru by 25 runs. Faf Tbilisi-led RCB won the toss and opted to bowl first. Travis Head, scintillating century, propelled SRH to an imposing total of 287 for 3 against a struggling RCB bowling side. But despite the daunting target of 288 runs, RCB mounted a spirited challenge in the second innings. Kolkata Knight Riders will face Rajasthan Royals in the 31st match of the Indian Premier League 2024 in Kolkata today. The Royals are sitting on top of the table with 5 wins from 6 games this season. Kolkata are in the second spot with 4 wins from 5 games, and the teams this team in fact will be eyeing the top spot with this game. But after crushing Lucknow Super Giants by 8 wickets with over 4 overs to spare at the same venue, the hosts are in formidable form. The reigning champion, Carlos Alcaraz, has pulled out of the Barcelona Open due to a right arm injury and is a doubtful starter for next week's Madrid Open. The 20-year-old two-time Grand Slam winner won the tournament in 2022 and 2023. He was forced to withdraw due to an injury, and that kept the Spanish world number 3 out of the last 2 weeks, Monte Carlo Masters. Now, Alcaraz has won the title, only one title this year, that's Indian Wells last month, and he said he's focusing on recovering properly. And finally, the 22 times Grand Slam champion, the all-time great Rafael Nadal has confirmed that he is going to be making a long-awaited return to tennis by playing at the Barcelona Open. Nadal hasn't played since the Barcelona International in January due to injury. And with that, back to you, Ramesh. Are you looking forward to Nadal coming back? I mean, he's going to retire this year.
Indeed, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Mark. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Up. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website, ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. And all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.